Hey everybody, Glenn from PS Nation, and we're going to give this another try. So what we're working with today is this M4 converter that is available from China. And I'll throw a picture up now so you can see what it looks like. So what this is supposed to do is it's supposed to allow you to use your older Logitech PS3 steering wheels like the GT Force here on your PS4 or your Xbox One actually, which I don't have that here with me to test. But the weird part about it is you have to have a controller, a PS4 controller plugged into this converter as well. And the problem was they weren't really specific about it, so I just plugged the DualShock 4, via a USB cable into it, and it just wasn't working. They responded and said that you actually have to have a wired PS4 controller and you can't use the standard DualShock 4. The problem is nobody in the United States, as far as I could find, sells any wired PS4 controllers. So I went to PlayAsia and ordered this. This is the Hori, I think it's like the Gamepad 4 or something like that. So this is a Hori wired PS4 controller, and as you can see, it's working. So if I go back and forth, it's working. And you have basically, I think the M4 uses that controller for a bunch of functionality, that sort of thing. So let me zoom out a little bit so you can see a little bit more of this. So, first off, the price. So a lot of people want, obviously, to use their old steering wheels. Now, I mean, the GT Force, I think, was like $159 back in the day. So, but, there's the G25, the G27. They're expensive wheels, and, they're very modular, kind of like the Thrustmasters, that sort of thing. And I can see why people want to use them, and I don't blame them at all. But you start thinking about cost. So the converter right now, PlayAsia used to sell them, and they don't sell them anymore, so you have to get them directly from the manufacturer. They're like $50, but then it's $25 just to ship it, and it's really small. I'd unplug it, but then I'd have to redo everything because once it's in there, it's in while the system's on. But it's only like this big, and it's really, really small. So $25 to ship it, so now you're up to $75. The controller, normal price, is $50 at PlayAsia. I got really lucky. For some reason that day, that blue controller was $41.99 on sale, so I got a few bucks off. But again, it was like $25 shipping. So now I'm up to essentially $150 to get this $150 steering wheel to work. Okay, so start thinking about the cost a little bit, that sort of thing. But I have not tried this yet. This is the first time I've had it all plugged in. I am seeing, though, that the D-pad is now working, which it wasn't before when I was using the other method. So let's give it a try. You're going to be experiencing this with me at the same time. And I'm going to try to stay out of the way so that you can see this wheel. I'm going to put it on a view so you can see the wheel on the game. And then I'll zoom back in a little bit so you can see that a little bit better. But what I'm worried about is the videos I've seen for this thing. They've shown, to me, it looked like there was a lot of input lag. And that's really what I worried about. Also, there's a lot of theories going around that the force feedback isn't going to work. So unless this M4 converter has some magical way of appearing as a steering wheel of some type, which I kind of highly doubt, the game, I don't know if force feedback is going to work. So I'll be impressed. Let's make sure the volume's down enough. I also want you to listen to this wheel because when you see my review for the Logitech T300, wow. So, okay. Well, that's working so far. And I'm not really situated in front of it, so I'm probably not going to drive too well, so let the haters hate. Okay, so drive, single event. We'll just do Canada, A. Okay, so far so good. This is working. Let's keep it dry, all right. Don't want to go crazy. And I'm just going to do a hot hatchback just because that's a little bit slower. It should be a little bit easier to control. All right, here we go. Hopefully I'm not in the way. Okay. Now I have to remember what button I have to hit to change the view on here. Okay. How do I change the view? What is the button on this wheel? There we go. Okay. There's a really bad dead zone. And there is, I mean, look at how far I've got this thing turned. Again, don't expect me to drive too well. I'm off to the side. It still seems like there's at least a visual input lag, but I mean, look at where the wheel is on the screen compared to where I'm at. Look at that dead zone. And this is definitely not full force feedback at all. Yeah, that dead zone's crazy. And it's funny because like the force feedback will kind of kick in every now and then, but it'll just rattle. So it's probably just when I'm going over bumps and that full force feedback that you would expect, like actually getting tighter in the turns, that sort of thing, is definitely not happening here. Gosh, I've got my foot hard down on the accelerator too. I mean, everything's mapping at least, so that's a good thing, I guess. I mean, you guys have all used this Logitech wheel at some point. They're loud as heck the entire time you're racing. Yeah, that dead zone is pretty bad. Sorry, I'm trying to get fancy and use the brake. Come on. Now, obviously, I don't have a G25, G27 to use because I haven't been rich for a long time, or ever. If I can hunt somebody down around here that has one, I can try to borrow it. But, I mean, it's all the same thing. This basic functionality should be pretty similar in terms of expectations with, you know, this cheaper wheel and the more expensive ones. And that is another thing I would be concerned about, though, is if you have like a full shift or anything like that, if that's even going to work, which I don't think they've ever said like full compatibility with shifters. God, almost seems like I'm not even catching up to anybody either. I don't know if the accelerator is just not registering as full down or what. Come on. There we go. Maybe I'm just seeing things. Yeah, so in terms of full force feedback, it's not working. What I am getting, though, is the bumps in the road occasionally. But that dead zone is something that I really can't overlook. Oh, I came in third out of eight. So, yeah, I mean, I'll play with it more. But, I mean, you can see clear as day. There's definitely a little bit of input lag, at least visually there is. That dead zone is crazy. Full force feedback? No way. Not in Drive Club, at least. I mean, I can try the Xbox One next week and put a video up of that, but yes, it works. Is it worth $150 though? That's the big question. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you might be able to save shipping if you buy both at the same time, but I don't think this company that makes this N4 or this M4 sells controllers. So since PlayAsia doesn't sell anymore, that kind of tells me that maybe there was something weird going on. I mean, it does work. It's just not. It's not like hooking up that T80 from Thrustmaster for $100, which I've seen for $80. Of course, you don't get full force feedback on that either, but $150 for steering wheel with really no force feedback, or $80 for the T80 with no force feedback. Yeah, I mean, I'll play with it more. I'll talk about it on the podcast probably. I'll talk about it a little bit when we do it this week because we're delayed, and talk about it next week, obviously. It'll be episodes like roughly 416, 417, around that area if you see this video later on. But, you know, keep your eyes on psnation.com over on the forums in the gaming section. Just do a search on M4 and I'm kind of keeping a log of how this thing works in there, putting pictures up, that sort of thing. So just go over to the forums at psnation.com, check that out, and you can follow us on Twitter at psnation. Thanks for watching. Hopefully that helped a little bit. We'll see where it goes from here, but I'll definitely play with it more and report back. Thanks.